Hello, and welcome to this first ever episode of Basic Guitar Shapes and Progressions. Basically, the beginner's guide to guitar. When I started, I didn't have anyone to really tell me how it was done. Um, I started out, I taught myself pretty much everything. I've been playing for a few years now, and what I really want to do is help people get started. So what we're going to start with doing is with five uh, basic chord shapes. And then I'm going to tell you about the essentials if you've just got started, what you're going to need if you're trying to get a bit more serious with your guitar playing. And at the end, I'm going to teach you a simple song. It's called Knocking on Heaven's Door. I believe you've heard it before, but this is probably the simplest way to play it and a good way to get a sense of a slow-going rock rhythm. So, let's get started. Basic chord shapes. We have a C, yeah. We have a D minor. We have a G. There's a beginner's version of this, which I will also teach you. We have an E minor, where you have these two here. And we have an E. So, basically, we're going to start off with a C chord here. I'm going to move in a bit closer. The reason this is a quite high-pitched guitar is because it's a smaller size. My regular guitar, I do have a Western guitar, but one of the strings is broken on it, and I'm going to have to go to a different town to get some new ones. So that might take me a little while. I do have an electric guitar as well, but I'm not going to play this here. I live in an apartment, so yeah. We're going to do it with this today. This is a small Yamaha G1. It's what's called a guitalele. Here we go. Let's see. I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to put it right now. I'm going to start off with the C chord here. Here we go. I'm going to put my index finger on the first fret on the second string from the bottom. I'm going to put my long finger here on the second fret on the fourth string from the bottom. I'm not going to get all technical with you because that's not what you need. And I'm going to put my ring finger on the third fret on the fifth string from the bottom. And that's going to sound like this. If you want to hear this this sort of sound from your own guitar, you're gonna have to put a capo on the fifth fret. But we'll get to that. So basically, the C shape. Basic chord. We're gonna go to the D shape here. We have our index finger. I don't know if you can see this. We have our index finger on the second fret and the third string from the bottom. We have our long finger here. I don't know what to call it in English. On the second fret on the first string from the bottom, that's called the high E string. We have our ring finger on the third fret on the second string from the bottom. And what you want to do here is you only want to strum the bottom four, right? So you do. Alright? And another basic chord right here is a G shape. I'm going to teach you the normal version and the beginner's version. The normal version is where you take your index finger and place it on the second fret on the, what's that? That's the A string, that's the fifth string from the bottom. And your long finger here, you're going to place that on the third fret on the top string, the deepest string on the guitar, and your ring finger and place it on the bottom. Now, many of you might have some troubles with this, but we're going to give it a go anyway. After this, I'm going to teach you the more easy way to do this. So, basically, this is what it sounds like. And the easier way is if you leave out your second fret here, you just put your ring finger there and your index finger there. So on the third fret, top and bottom, you get basically the same sound, but this index finger on the second fret gives it a bit more flavor. What we have then is an E major chord, or minor. I'm not sure actually, but that is not a big deal. We have that's actually just two fingers here. we have our index finger on the 2nd fret, 5th string, and our long finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string, and that sounds like that. All right. The normal E chord is where you have the same as in the E minor, but you're gonna move it to the long finger. Where is it? The long finger and the ring finger. So you have these two there, and you place your, where is that? That would be here. You place your pointer on the 1st fret on the, what's that? That's the 3rd string, and that sounds like this. Right. What we're going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the essentials of playing guitar. We have one of the most essential things you can have, that would be a tuner. This little device tells you if your guitar is in tune. The worst sound you can have is if your guitar is out of tune, which mine is a little bit right now. But seeing as this is for learning purposes, so I didn't go through tuning it, because it is tuned a bit differently from normal guitars. So it's a bit of a job, really. So this, any type of tuner, be it with a mic or with a wire, if you have an electric guitar, you're going to need this, I assure you. Secondly, you might want one of these. This is what's called a capo. It's also known as waistband and stuff like that, but I just call it a capo. What this does is you place it on the neck of your guitar. So you have the normal sound, and if you place this on, say, the 3rd fret, you tighten it up, right? You get a different sound. Yeah. So that's if you're playing a song and you find it a bit too low pitched to sing along to. You can make it a bit higher, or even if you place it the right way, you can make it a bit lower to sing. So that's pretty good. You are gonna need also, well, that was my cat, I'm sorry. You're gonna need also a pick that suits you. Now, the Danish people watching here, you're gonna giggle, I know that. I'm Danish, by the way, the land of the Vikings. I tend to go for the softer picks. I do play, if I play some heavy rock, I do choose a harder pick. I tend to play with my fingers the most times, but when I do use a pick, I use a soft pick. This right here, this is what's that? That's 0.5 millimeter, and it's pretty soft. You can see it bends pretty much. It's hard to find the camera here. It bends a lot. That means I can hold it harder and strum a bit harder. Strumming is when you move your right hand up and down, if you didn't know that. So that's pretty essential to find a pick that suits your playing style. These don't cost much. You can basically buy them and burn them. So yeah, go for it. Try out some different shapes and sizes and thicknesses and weights and stuff like that, and go with what suits you best. So moving on here, that's basically the essentials that you're going to need if you want to be a bit more serious with your guitar playing. So we got from the basic chord shapes. You remember I taught you the C, the D, the G, the E minor, and the E. That's the E, sorry. And what we can do with these is I can teach you a pretty decent song. It's a classical rock, and it's only 3 chords if you play it the simple way. We're going to start out with the G chord. I'm going to use my pick for this one. It's a nice pick. So if you just try and listen to it once, get a feel of the rhythm. Alright? That's pretty much the same progression all the way through the song. This is basically a G. Do you remember the G chord? That's right. I do nothing with this. This is just kept standard. I tend to strum the top 2 strings and then strum down on the second, so that's that's just the deepest sound here.